especially to our dear educators. So I'm pretty sure all of you are excited because this is going to be the first Learn from Home series for the week. So currently, people are filing in. We're currently at 62, 64, around six people, six participants coming in by the second. So as the usual, we're going to wait until around 11 a.m., 11:05, so that I can introduce to you our moderator, and then the moderator will introduce the speaker for this morning. Ang bilis natin. We are at 170 participants na in Zoom. And if I'm going to check Facebook Live, I'm sure we're also going to have 20, 40 more people in our Facebook Live. So once again, my name is Lawrence Ko, and welcome to another Oplan Hope Learn from Home webinar brought to you by the Philippine Society for Talent Development. As you can see, we're very proud to say that together with you, we're currently at around 52 classes all in all. That's a combination of the Learn from Home webinars and the Chillax that we're doing every Friday. It's a total of 40,900 plus live Zoom attendees, including yung mga suki natin that are always here in our Learn from Home webinar. And you can see how many minutes in terms of viewership, both in Zoom and in Facebook Live. So as you also know, we are currently on the third week of our Learn from Home theme, which we're calling DigiTeach, a month dedicated for our teachers and other professionals in the academy. So this is actually the second to the last module that we're going to have. This one, and then we're going to have another one on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So once again, we are also live via Zoom and via Facebook through our page www.facebook.com/mypstd. Live stream recording of our previous Learn from Home session are also uploaded there. So please feel free to view them at your leisure and like and share to your fellow talent development colleagues. If ever may meron kayong mga friends na hindi makakapasok sa Zoom room natin later today, just refer them to our Facebook page because we will be recording them. Well, first and foremost, this is live via Facebook, and then we will be also recording them so that they can watch them on the weekend. Okay, we're currently at around 200 participants in our Zoom room, and around, I can confirm that we are at 20, 30, 20, 25 participants fluctuating in Facebook Live. So once again, welcome and good afternoon to everyone. By now, we're going to be launching our demographic slide for us to better understand the composition of our audience today. So Jen from our professional team will be helping us in launching the demographics Zoom poll. So if you are, regardless if you're on mobile or on desktop, should be able to see our poll and respond to them. And so let's just wait for the poll to pop up. There you go. So we have the usual 6 questions for the morning. The first one is, are you coming from the public or private school sector? The second one is, what level are you currently teaching in? Are you teaching in the primary grades, the secondary, the tertiary, in the postgraduate, or in the tech voc space? We would also like to know your age group. Are you from the 20s to 30s, 31 to 40s, 41 to 50s, 51 to 60s, or 61 to 70s? So as always, all of the data that we're getting from our polls will be used for us to better tailor fit the content of our programs in the future. The second one, location of school, where you're currently employed. Are you currently dialing in from Luzon, from Visayas, or from Mindanao? Gender, male, female, or were you able to attend the PSTD Training Needs Analysis Sprint last June 5, 2020, because all of the topics that we have for the month were all derived from the Training Needs Analysis Sprint. If we have enough numbers, I think we can close the poll, Jen, so that I can share the results to our moderator and our speaker, because I'm sure the speaker is excited to know more about the composition of our participants for today. Okay, so medyo walang difference from the last week. So most likely mga suki natin yun nandito. 68%, around 70% would still come from the public schools sector. Currently teaching in, we still have a lot, majority coming in from from the secondary, and then coming in close would be teachers in the primary grade levels. Age group would be 31 to 40. Very happy that we have a teacher 1%, 61 to 70. As they say, teaching is really a vocation. So even if we have another sir or another ma'am still actively teaching. Location of school, we're currently employed. The 72% overwhelmingly still in Luzon, and Visayas would come in second, Mindanao, and third. In terms of gender, overwhelming majority would be female at 81%, and 72% was not able to attend the TNA Sprint last June 5. But don't worry, we have a lot in store for you today. Thank you for that, Jen. Now, while we wait for the rest of the people to come in, because we're currently at 220 participants, and we're expecting to reach around 300. So let me just go through the membership details. Okay, so because as you know, the one of the objectives of PSTD is also to invite everyone to join the society as a member and actively contribute to our vision of continually developing not only the workplace learning and performance improvement profession in the country, but also the talent development as a whole. So it starts from the academe and before the talents of the country get into the workforce. In terms of the benefits, you can see them on the left side of your screen. I won't be reading them. And on the right side, we have these particular membership types. Membership rate, if you're an individual, you can register and be a member of PSTD for only 2,800 for the year. And if you are a corporate member, that's going to be 5,600. And I'm sure you can send around 2 to 3 people from your organization and attend some of our paid events. More information can be found, the details can be found on our website. It's at www.pstd.org. Now we're at 230 participants and the time is 11:01. So I think more or less I would have to move to the next slide. Okay, by now I am very, very excited to introduce to you our moderator for this morning. Our moderator is currently an associate professor of the University of the Philippines Asian Institute of Tourism. She took up her bachelor's, master's, and doctor's of philosophy, all from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She is a recipient of the Gawad AIT Natatanging Guro Award for Excellence in Teaching and various Students' Choice Awards, such as the Best in Teaching Methods and Most Admired Professor. She is also managing partner of Firebrand Asia, a consultancy and executive coaching firm that conducts trainings, coaching sessions, and team building seminars for individuals and companies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to this morning's Learn from Home moderator, Dr. Maricel Badilla. Good morning, Maricel.
Good morning, Lawrence. And good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'm excited to be your session moderator for this morning. And some of you I've been seeing in the group chat that you're suki. As for me, this is my first time to take part in PSTD's workshops, and I am indeed very excited and happy to join you today. The pandemic actually has created so many changes in our lifestyle. I personally couldn't imagine wearing shorts and moderating this session at the same time. And one of which changes in our lifestyle is that we work from home. For most mothers, it's working with home because it's blended with household chores and caring for the family. But I'm always grateful to technology for making this happen. You know, technology has indeed made the world a smaller place. It made it a global village. We have participants all the way from Mindanao and Visayas and all different parts of Luzon, which in the past, to get this kind of information, we have to fly to be together. But because of technology and because of the efforts of PSTD, we are able to learn new ways of doing things through the internet. So indeed, we could attend the meetings in the comfort of our own homes. We could design our course packs while the washing machine is on. And we can skip out from a meeting to get the sampay, okay? because it's about to rain. So it all goes also with many challenges. And if I may ask you, who among you at the end of each day would feel a backache or a neck strain or a headache, or worse, for me, I always feel an eye strain from being in front of the computer for long periods of time. And of course, I miss the interaction that I have with my students. Please type I in the chat box if that's you, because that's definitely me. As a teacher who's been teaching for 11 years, I truly, truly miss the interaction that happens inside the classroom. So if we all personally feel stressed, and there's a lot of eyes I see on the chat, thank you for affirming that I am not alone, that I'm not alone in feeling stressed and in feeling a bit agitated by this change. So I personally also feel that there are times that I feel so accomplished after a day, but there are also times I feel so unaccomplished. So today's session would be a very fruitful session for me as well, and for most of you who have been attending these sessions for since the start in July. And it will really be of help to us as teachers to really make each moment matter. But before we proceed to the talk, I'd like to give you some reminders. You actually see them on your screen, that most of us will be in mute. Alam ko as a teacher, that's hard because we always love to talk and we always see ourselves talking. So, but in the meantime, you can make use of the chat box as well as the Q&A box for information that you want to share with the group. Okay, for questions, we'd like you to use the Q&A tab instead of the chat box for us to be able to see it right away, for us to be able to filter it and to see common questions and put them together so that our speaker can respond to it at the end of the session. We'd also like to remind you to change the configuration. The automatic configuration in the chat box is addressed to panelists. So please change it with the drop-down arrow key to send to all panelists and attendees. That way, we can all have interaction. Even if we're muted, we can have interaction on the chat box. And then also reminding everyone that certificates will be issued for the first 100 participants who answer the post-event questionnaire. And they will automatically open on your browser at the end of this webinar. So again, good morning. And I'm about ready to introduce our speaker. And since we are all confronted with a major challenge of engaging our students using digital tools, most of us, including myself, we're not prepared for this. Okay? We're not prepared for this sudden change into using online, the online platform for the delivery of our subjects. Much more, I'm teaching in the tertiary, much more for the preschool. No? I couldn't imagine how we could deliver the sessions online. Okay? And today, also as digital teachers, as future digital teachers, we also look at our students. The students are valuable tools. No? They're the most valuable stakeholder in all this. But at the same time, we need to take care of ourselves too. So in today's session, we will be learning more about how making each moment matter from a topic expert. So let me introduce him to you today. Dr. Robin Velasco is currently an existential, humanistic, and transpersonal psychotherapist and counselor. This mode of therapy focuses on the here and the now with spiritual development and the search for life meaning. Robin obtained his master's and PhD degrees in psychology from Saybrook University in San Francisco, which was set up by the founders of existential and humanistic psychology. In Saybrook, he graduated with a GPA of 3.97 out of a possible 4, which is equivalent to summa cum laude. And he also has obtained the Best Dissertation Award. Currently, he counsels, advises, and coaches a broad range of clients. And aside from psychotherapy, he also sits in different management boards as strategic advisor and independent director. He also helps companies set up their strategic planning process, and at times he oversees it. Robin is a De La Salle University alumnus, all the way from preparatory school to his BS Biology and his Master's in Business Administration. He has been the Group HR Vice President for Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, an HR Director for Asia of Ipsos, which is a global market research firm present in 12 Asian countries. He also is HR Director, Talent Management for Asia Pacific of Johnson & Johnson. Before that, he was also with Procter & Gamble as Operations Section Manager. He also used to be an MBA professor in La Salle for more than 5 years and a college professor for 2. And he taught management principles, strategic management, human resources, ethics, production management, among others. His numerous awards include Magna Cum Laude, the BPI Science Award, and he was 2-time recipient of the Young Achievers Award and the 10 Outstanding Students of the Philippines. So we can not find a better expert than him. So friends, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Robin Velasco.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning sa inyong lahat. At it's really, just like Maricel, it's also my first time to be speaking on behalf of PSTD, and I'm very excited because, I found PSTD to be very professional, and everything is of high quality that I've experienced with them. So today I'm going to be talking about something very, very important and something very close to my heart, which is mindfulness. Because we want every moment in our lives to matter. Next slide, please. So what I'd like to happen, Sana, today is that everybody participates in the workshop actively through our chat, kasi I can read the chat naman, and it's always great for a speaker to actually be seeing participation in form of chat. As Maricel said, just like her, I also miss seeing a live group. But of course, with technology, pag nakikita ko yung chat, at least I can feel that people are listening and you're all out there, and I can feel the community. So yeah, every time I'm seeing kahit mga hello po lang nakikita ko dyan, I think I feel good about it. So if you have any questions, yeah, as Maricel mentioned, please bring it up in the question and answer so that she can summarize it, and later on we can talk about it maybe at around 11:50ish. I'll start answering questions. Okay, next slide. So today's objective, in maybe about 40-45 minutes, what I'd like to do is define and show you how significant and what are the key components of mindfulness. And then I'd also be talking about this importance of the present moment and valuing our every single moment. And then the third part is I'll talk about the ill effects of judging on everything. And then finally, of course, I'll be talking how to develop mindfulness in all of us. Okay. So just to start off, the definition of mindfulness is simply a state of awareness of the present moment. So sometimes minsan medyo high-tech yung mga ibang definitions na, but actually mindfulness just simply means we are aware of the present moment. We are aware that we are aware. So every moment that we live, we always have to have this attitude of curiosity. Very, very open, this curiosity. Like, bakit kaya ganon? Bakit kaya ganyan? Diba? Bakit ano nangyayari kaya dito? Bakit kaya siya ganon mag-isip? Or bakit siya ganon magsalita? Diba? So curious without judging. And openness means whatever you see or whatever you hear, you're open na baka naman totoo yun. Even if what you're hearing is totally or experiencing seems to be totally opposite of what you believe in, we always need to be open. maybe they're right, maybe I'm wrong. That's the type of openness that we just have to have. And then acceptance of one's experience. It means, this is so important, parang whatever happens in life, we just simply, first of all, accept it. You know, we spend a lot of time kasi rejecting our experiences, meaning, ay, ayoko yan, ay, ayoko to, ay, ang pangit. So then when we have these different types of judgments, it ruins the experience, plus it makes us suffer. And so that's what we're trying to do here, is that whatever happens, we have to accept. And itong COVID-19 na to, it actually helps us here a lot. No, we have to accept things. Like perhaps Zoom is not perfect because we're not seeing each other face to face. But marami rin namang advantages in Zoom. So we always like to make best of what we have, and then just simply accept the experience as the best experience possible as of today. So next, Lawrence. So these are some of the key components of mindfulness. First of all, the important is that we have the attention. So in other words, we are concentrated. We are concentrated. We are listening, we are watching, and considering what naturally exists. So what you'll find out is that, my experience in therapy is that people actually, we all have this problem of listening. Parang simpleng nakikinig lang, ang dami ng problema. Mainly because pag nagli-listen tayo, even ngayon, even now that we're listening to this workshop, sometimes when you listen, meron tayong filter. Ibig sabihin filter, nasabi tama yan, mali yan, pangit yan, maganda yan. So it's not really listening when we have these filters of judgments. So when the other thing outside of listening is this watching. We watch so that we can experience this, and then we consider what naturally exists. And then the intention is that we purposefully increase the awareness of our experience, and that's the important thing. And then we would like to be in the moment. We would like to be here and now, just in the present moment. Like I said this, just a while ago, we need to be curious, we need to be objective, and we have to be non-judgmental about all these different experiences that we're having. We notice our thoughts, we notice our emotions, and we notice our physical states. And that's what mindfulness is all about. Okay? Okay. So, why is mindfulness important? And the first part is that, academically, most of us are teachers, including myself. Mindfulness improves our cognitive performance and engagement. So for example, if we're mindful, then performance actually helps us. We have greater attention, and we actually have a reduction in anxiety. And then the second part is the psychological health. So we decrease our stress levels, our depression, increase in well-being and self-compassion, and lower self-harm. So one of the things na ginagawa ko in work is counseling. I know that last week you talked about counseling in the previous workshop. You were talking about coaching, mentoring others, and also counseling. So mindfulness is something na importante, very, very important when you are counseling other people. Because when you counsel, you have to listen and you have to be aware of what's happening inside of you. And the third part is social health. So of course, we want healthier responses to difficult social situations. And we want to be able to increase our compassion to other people. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so yung mindfulness for teachers, as we are all teachers. studies have shown that when teachers practice mindfulness for their own personal lives, it affects students in a positive way. So hindi naman natin kailangan gamitin tong mindfulness to actually teach other people mindfulness. Just the fact that we are mindful actually will help us become better teachers. When we are mindful, it improves our relationship with our students. It helps make the classroom climate more positive and helps reduce difficult behaviors. So mindfulness, mostly, of course, is that for mindfulness, for teachers who actually do mindfulness practices, it improves their own health, well-being, engagement, and satisfaction with life. And then pag satisfied tayo sa buhay natin, and when happy tayo sa buhay natin, definitely mag-i-improve tayo as teachers. Next slide, please. Itong mindfulness na to, hindi ito bago, no? Because marami ng companies sa US, really big companies gumagamit nito. So for example, Google is definitely one of our respected international companies, and they use mindfulness as one of their major practices in order to make Google successful. Next slide, please. And mindfulness is also international. It's also worldwide. So it's also talking about things that different countries are practicing, not just the Philippines, but all over the world. Next slide, please. It's being used not just by teachers, not just by professionals or corporate people, but also in sports. So, for example, si Phil Jackson, I don't know kung ilan sa inyong may kilala kay Phil Jackson. So, yung mga may kilala kay Phil Jackson, pwedeng pa-type me, dito sa chat natin, kung meron sa inyong may kilala kay Phil Jackson. Okay, so mukhang medyo marami, no? Ang nakakilala kay Phil Jackson. So, he's one of the most winningest coach in the world. 11 NBA titles, surpassing the previous record of 9 by Red Auerbach. So, kung naalala nyo, ang isa sa mga nagpasikat kay Phil Jackson is that siya yung coach ni Michael Jordan. Diba? So, Bulls at the very first time. So, Michael Jordan. And akala ng iba, siguro, si Phil Jackson ang galing-galing niya kasi player niya si Michael Jordan eh. So, syempre naman, kung nasa'yo si Michael Jordan, palagi ka ng panalo, di ba? So, but the thing is, after 6 championships sa Chicago Bulls, lumipat siya sa LA Lakers. And then, nung lumipat siya sa LA Lakers, champion na naman ng LA Lakers for 5 times. So, ibig sabihin na to, meron din kinalaman kay Phil Jackson yung pagka-champion niya. No? And then, when Phil Jackson was asked, what is his main, ano ba yung sikreto mo to having really good players? And of course, marami naman siyang sikreto. But one of the secrets that he actually said to Oprah Winfrey is that he practices mindfulness. Sa mga players niya, mindfulness, meditation, that's what he practices with his players. And of course, people like Michael Jordan also practices a lot of mindfulness and a lot of meditation practices. And that is the secret of a lot of corporate leaders, also the secret of a lot of very successful players. Hindi lang si Michael Jordan, but marami pang iba. Dati may slide ako, mga 3 slide, punong-puno ng mga pangalan ng mga sikat. But anyway, due to time purposes, I'm just gonna stick with Michael Jordan. But actually, madami pang iba. So mindfulness is supported by a lot of research. So the effectivity of mindfulness is based on a lot of published articles. So hindi lang to invento ng isang tao, actually. So a lot of people have actually put in their time to develop this. And there's, for example, 4,000. So 4,000 scientific papers on mindfulness. Most of them proving the effectiveness ng mindfulness. So this is not just one of those things na, things na dadaan para mga fad diets, no? Na dadaan, tapos sisikat, tapos after a while, mawawala din. So mindfulness has been around for a very, very long time. And it's been proven through so many research studies. So definitely it's something that will stay with us for, more than 100, 200, or 300 or more years pa. So, hindi tatagal tong mindfulness na to. Next slide. So let's see now. Let's talk a little about practicing mindfulness. How do we practice it? So one of the things that kailangan nating malaman is that we are not our mind. So it means that, we think sometimes na tayo yung thoughts natin. Kung anong iniisip natin, tayo yon. No? But actually, hindi. Kasi, mapapansin nyo, pag nag-iisip tayo, pag nag-imagine tayo, or pag meron tayong pinipicture sa ating isip, meron pa ring tao, meron pa ring entity na actually nanunood sa thoughts natin or sa imagination natin. So in other words, meron pa ring person that's actually watching our thoughts, and that's us. And so the thoughts are not us. Yun lang kailangan. That's what I'd like to make mention. That's an important concept, is that our thoughts, hindi tayo yon. We are not our thoughts. Kasi pwede nating panurin yung thoughts natin eh. Dumadaan yan. Go by and say whether ito bang mga thoughts natin ay helpful or not, or yung mga pag iniisip natin, yung inis natin sa isang tao, for example, nakakatulong ba yun sa atin or nakaka-harm pa? So we are not our thoughts. We are the watcher of our thoughts. So, pinapanood natin yung mga iniisip natin. And napaka-importante yon kasi kailangan nating malaman na yung mga thoughts natin can be controlled. Pwede nating piliin. Hindi tayo like helpless na sa mga bagay na pinag-iisipan natin. Kaya lang, ang pinaka-problema dito is sometimes nawawala tayo sa lahat ng iniisip natin. Ang ibig sabihin nito, kung let's say, pinag-iisipan natin kung kano tayo kagalit sa isang tao, minsan, sa pag-iisip natin ganon, nawawala tuloy tayo nawawala yung sarili natin sa thoughts. And tapos, lahat ng mga judgment natin, lahat ng iniisip natin na judgment, napakasamang tao niyan. Diba? Akala natin sa sarili natin, dahil thoughts natin, nagiging totoo tuloy. So, wala na tayong room for curiosity. Remember kanina, kailangan may openness, kailangan may awareness, kailangan may curiosity. Pag nag-make ka na ng judgment, nawawala na yung curiosity, nawawala na yung openness. Ibig sabihin ng judgment, masama yan. Hindi mabuting tao yan. Masama yung sinabi niya. For example, lahat to. Pag may judgment na tayo, problema na yon. Nawawala na tayo sa thoughts natin. So, example na to is pag nanonood tayo ng movie. Previous slide. Mukhang nalipat yung slide kagad. Can we have the previous slide, Lo? Yan. So, when we are watching a movie, di ba, pag nagsistart lang yung movie, nakikita natin yung credits. So, alam natin na nanonood tayo ng movie. Di ba, nakaupo tayo sa sinehan, kailan kaya mangyayari ulit yon, no? So, pwede bang pakitype sa chat yung favorite movies nyo na napanood? Isipin nyo nga ano yung favorite movies nyo, tapos pakitype ko ano yung favorite movies nyo. So, napaka-importante nito. So yan, for example, from Mary, The Notebook. I still believe. O yan, Crash Landing on You. We Were Soldiers. Harry Potter. Simon Birch. So yung mga yan, mga favorite movie. Palagin lang natin Harry Potter. Diba? Pag Harry Potter, pag upo mo, for example, Titanic, pag upo mo sa sinihan, nanonood ka, yung mga credits lumalabas. Diba? Marvel, Avengers. So, Harry Potter, maraming Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Inception, favorite ko din yan. So, pag upo nyo sa sinihan, nakikita nyo yung mga credits na dumadaan. Pag dumadaan yung credits, alam nyo na nasa sinihan kayo. Pero kung napakaganda ng sine na pinapanood nyo, engaging siya, magkakaroon ng time, di ba, na makakalimutan nyo na nasa sinihan pala kayo. At kala nyo nandun na rin kayo sa pinapanood nyong sine. Yan ang tinatawag na nawawala na tayo sa sarili nating pag-iisip. Which is, ang perfect example niyan ay pag nanonood tayong sine. Nawawala tayo sa pag-iisip na parang nakalimutan natin na nakaupo tayo sa sine, tapos pag may pinapakita doon sa sine na nagpapatayan, akala natin part na rin tayo na nagpapatayan. Tapos pag merong lumabas biglang papatay, bigla na lang mapapasigaw tayo at matatakot. Diba? So kung nangyari na sa atin yun, nangyari na sa akin yun, ibig sabihin nun, suspension of disbelief ang tawag doon, no? sa movie. Suspend the disbelief. Ibig sabihin, naniniwala tayo na kung ano yung nangyayari sa screen, totoo pala yun. Ngayon, pag hindi tayo mindful, ganun nangyayari sa atin. Parang nanonood tayong sine, nakalimutan natin na hindi pala yun sine. Ito pala yung totoong buhay. So, mindfulness is actually being able to identify the movie. Nanonood pala tayong movie and know that we are just watching life. So, life also is some sort of a movie. Para din tayong nanonood ng movie. Sa mga inyo, may mga sa inyo nagpe-play ng mga video games, lalo na yung mga role-playing games, di ba? Parang minsan, lalo na kung napakaganda ng game, akala din natin nandun na tayo. Kaya pag kunwari naglalaro COC, di ba? Barilan. Minsan pag namamatay tayo sa laro, parang feeling mo ang nangyayari sa ating katawan, parang namamatay din tayo sa totoong buhay. No? So nawawala yung mindfulness. Napapasok na siya sa, automatic thinking. So yun yung automatic thinking. Yan. So yung mga SRPG, sabi ni Flora, Tomb Raider, for example, yan. Yan ang mga nawawala yung mindfulness natin pag nanonood tayo, pag naglalaro tayo masyado ng mga video games. Pero okay din yan. Naglalaro din ako niyan paminsan-minsan. Next slide, Lo. So, ang importante dito is, ang sinasabi natin, kahit na sa counseling, even in therapy, ang pinaka-importante sa lahat is this present moment awareness. Yung alam natin na nandito tayo sa kasalukuyan. Present moment. Kasi yung present moment, sa totoo lang, kung isipin natin mabuti, the present moment is the only moment we have. Wala naman tayong past. Kasi yung past na yan, memory lang yan. Diba? Nasa isip lang natin yun. And maraming studies, during my studies sa PhD studies in the US, nagsasabi na maraming memories actually distorted. Ang ibig sabihin ng distorted ay di natin talaga alam kung talagang nangyari or hindi. Okay, for example, may mga memories na let's say isang patient, akala niya na-rape siya, but actually hindi pala. So, minsan akala natin nangyari siya pero panaginip lang pala siya. So, minsan nakakalito. Marami din tayong this memory distortion. So, ang inaakala nating past natin, yung nakaraan, na solid, ay hindi talaga ganun ka-solid yan. Hindi natin talaga alam kung paano siya nangyari. Parang pagka merong nagbungguan sa gitna ng highway, yung memory ng dalawang tao na nagbungguan, totally iba. Even if parehong-pareho yung situation, parehong location, parehong date, pero yung naalala nila sa exact same event, totally different. Diba? Yung isa, ibang makikita, yung isa, ibang nakikita. Depende kung saan nakafocus yung tao. So, the past is just a memory. Yung future naman natin, kung tutusin, imagination lang naman natin yan. So, hindi naman natin alam, and it's proven na mga 90-95% ng mga things that we worry about in the future, hindi naman nangyayari. Okay, so, ano ba yung future na yan, di ba? So, the present moment is, ngayon, ito lang talaga this is what life is made of. Kaya ngayon sinasabi natin sa title ng workshop na to is making every moment count. It's because we only have now. We only have the present moment. Hindi naman natin alam tomorrow kung ano mangyayari, di ba? It's actually possible tomorrow, wala na tayo sa mundong to. So, it makes us actually shows us, nagpapakita sa atin na napaka-importante ng today. So within mindfulness of the present moment, kasi kung talagang 100% mindful tayo, nawawala yung fear and anxiety. Di ba? Kasi ang fear and anxiety, nangyayari lang yan pag kinakatakutan natin yung pwedeng mangyari sa future. Tapos meron naman tayong sinasabing guilt, regret, depression. Nangyayari lang yan kung titignan natin yung past. Di ba? Ay nako, sana na lang itong ginawa ko. Bakit di ko ba ito naisipan? Bakit ko ba ito ginawa? So merong regret. Meron tayong sinasabing depression. Nangyayari lang ito lahat pag pumupunta tayo sa nakaraan. Tapos yung fear, anxiety, nangyayari lang yan pagka pupunta yung isip natin sa future. Pero pag nag-stick lang tayo talaga sa present moment, at pinakita na to ng maraming happiness studies, na people na nakaka-stick sa present moment, no matter what the present moment is, happiness actually rises or increases. So even if nasa gitna ka ng traffic, even if naglalaba ka, even if bored ka na, but if you can stick with the present moment, happiness generally goes up. Kaya mindfulness is all about focusing on the present moment. So next slide, please. Yan. At ang ina-avoid natin yung sinasabi nating automatic mind. Ibig sabihin ng automatic mind, para na tayong robot. Diba? Meron tayong mga programs. Meron tayong instinct. Okay? So, meron tayong instinct na minsan, nagiging automatic pilot na yung isip natin. Ang tinatawag natin, nawawala na tayo sa sarili natin minsan. So, minsan papasok tayo sa kwarto, may hinahanap tayo, tapos biglang nakalimutan natin, bakit nga ba ako pumasok sa kwarto na to? Or minsan, nawawala yung train of thought. Ibig sabihin, nag-automatic mind na. Diba? So, in mindfulness practice, as much as possible, ayaw natin ng automatic mind. Kasi automatic mind, dyan na pumapasok yung mga problema natin. Mga issues natin, pumapasok na yung pag-automatic mind. Yung meron tayong nasasabi ng mga bagay na hindi napagsisisihan natin dahil hindi natin pinag-isipan ng mabuti dahil naka-automatic mind na tayo. So when our minds are in automatic mode, we are not in control. You know, we're not in control. Alam niyo, nagko-control sa atin is yung instinct na natin. May programming, di ba? May biological programming tayo. Di ba? So for example, sa automatic programming natin, you know, kumain ng masarap na pagkain. Nasa programming natin yan. Kasi lahat ng nabubuhay, all living things, kailangan kumain. So, of course, nakaprogram na yan sa biology natin na dapat kumain tayo. So, pag nagugutom tayo, kakain tayo, automatic yan, hindi na kailangan pag-isipan. Diba? So, maraming mga automatic. Yung paghinga natin, paghinga natin, hindi na natin kailangan pag-isipan. Automatic din yung mga yan. So, pag naka-automatic mind tayo, pumapasok dito instinct na. No? So, paminsan-minsan, problema ng instinct is obsolete na yung programming. Obsolete na yung programming na yan. So for example, nagsasabi natin obsolete na programming is palagi tayong kinakabahan. Diba? Kasi programming din yun eh. Before, nung time ng evolution natin, nung mga past 100,000 years ago, napaka-importante na palagi tayong matakutin. Kasi pag matakutin ka, ikaw ang unang-unang tumatakbo pag may leon. Diba? So ikaw nabubuhay. Tapos yung mga hindi masyadong matakutin at matapang sa leon, nakakain. So ang nangyayari dito is that yung programming ng fear, anxiety is actually good for survival. Kaya lang sa panahon natin, obsolete na yung programming na yon. Wala nang mga leon na umiikot-ikot dyan. Wala naman tayo kailangan katakutan pa. So, kung ganito, kailangan nating tanggalin yung programming na yun by actually being mindful. So as much as possible, we need to get out of this mode na automatic mind. Next slide, please. So, ito yung, you know, alam natin na automatic mind tayo or natawag natin doing mind. Automatic siya, tapos may thoughts and ideas na humahawak sa atin. ang isa sa factor, makikita natin sa automatic mind, palaging nasa past or palaging nasa future. Pag may nangyari sa ating masama dati sa past, palaging uulit-ulitin niya. So, dating panahon, importante to. Kasi pag nakita ka ng leon, alam mo ng itsura ng leon, sa susunod na makita ka ng leon, kailangan ka ng tumakbo. Diba? So, napaka-importante na nire-replay natin sa isip natin yung leon. Pero ngayon, wala nang ganon. So, ang tinatawag ko doon is obsolete programming na yan. Marami tayong mga program sa isip natin na obsolete na isang example lang yon, pero napakadami nating programming sa isip na obsolete na. Kailangan na nating i-reprogram sarili natin. So, kailangan natin dito sa doing mind, parang palaging kailangan palaging kailangan bago, kailangan iba. So, ganito din nangyayari dun sa programming before. Kasi, kailangan dati natin, nung caveman pa tayo, nung unang panahon, palipat-lipat. Kasi hindi tayo pwede magstay sa isang place kasi nauubos ang pagkain. So, kailangan natin lumipat. So, meron din tayong programming na ganon. Na sa evolution na kailangan lumipat. Kailangan palaging bago. Hindi pwedeng ganon. So, nabobore tayo. Kung paulit-ulit. So, isa rin yung programming na issue yun. So, ang problema doon is kung ano yung inuulit-ulit mo, kung napaka-importante naman siya at napaka-beneficial, kasi exercise, paulit-ulit, diba? Sabihin na iba, napaka-boring yan kasi paulit-ulit. Gusto ko pa iba-iba. So unfortunately, programming din yun. So next slide, please. So yung doing mode, minsan nakakatulong din naman yung automatic thinking, lalo na for example, nagda-drive tayo ng kotse, or may ginagawa tayo na kailangan ng automatic. So, hindi na natin kailangan isipin masyado yung bawat move. So, minsan okay din naman yung doing mode. Kaya lang, ang problema nito, pagka medyo mga bagay na internal yung aspect, let's say, I wish I were happier, minsan paikot-ikot-ikot, paulit-ulit lang nangyayari sa atin. Hindi natin siya nalalabasan. So, for example, nalulungkot lang tayo dahil meron tayong kapitbahay or meron tayong best friend dati na nagsalita ng hindi maganda tungkol sa atin. So, minsan, sa sobrang inis natin, sobrang galit natin, paulit-ulit. You know, kahit na 1 year ago na yan, kahit na 2 years ago na yan, pag nakikita natin na kaalala tayo tungkol sa kanya, umuulit na naman at umuulit. So, yun, very harmful yan. Dahil alam natin walang mabuting nangyari sa paulit-ulit na yan. So, yung doing mode niya, nagkakaproblema. Dito lumalabas yung issues on depression and anger dito sa doing mode na to. Next slide, please. So, kailangan talaga nating pinapanood yung thoughts natin. Kasi yung thoughts natin can make up our universe. Thoughts make up our lives. Thoughts define who we are. So, napaka-importante na iniisip natin dahil may direct effect yan sa health natin. So magbibigay lang ako sa inyo ng quick example. No? So lahat tayo, iakyat yung kamay ng ganito, tingnan natin yung kamay natin ganyan. Mag-imagine tayo ng merong manggang hilaw na hawak-hawak natin dito. Green, manggang hilaw. Diba? Tapos imagine natin na binabalatan natin tong manggang hilaw na to. Binabalatan natin siya. Imagine, binabalatan natin siyang ganyan, no? Pagkatapos, hinihiwa natin yung manggang hilaw na to. Pagkatapos, may bagoong pala tayo dyan sa tabi, no? Naamoy pa natin yung bagoong. Pagkatapos, sinasawsaw natin yung mangga sa bagoong. Diba? So, ano nangyayari sa imagination na to? So, paki-chat nga, ano ba nangyayari? So, yan, sabi ni Cyril, naglalaway na daw siya. Diba? So, yan, gutom, nagugutom, salivating, no? Drooling, naglalaway, sabi ni Cheryl. So, kitang-kita ninyo, unang-una, naglalaway tayo. At pati na rin ako naglalaway ngayon. May kita natin na alam naman natin na wala naman talagang mangga. Wala namang mangga sa harapan natin. Hindi naman totoo yung mangga. Diba? Imagination lang natin siya. wala naman sa atin sigurong nag-iisip na totoong may mangga dito. Pero dahil sa pag-iisip natin, dito may parotid glands tayo dito, na nagsisecrete ng saliva. Pero ang problema natin, ini-imagine natin siya, hindi natin alam, hindi alam ng katawan natin na fake pala yun. Naghahanda pa rin siya para kumain ng mangga. Lumalabas na yung laway. Diba? Nagdudrool tayo. So yung ibig sabihin nito, napaka-importante kung anong pinapasok natin sa isip kasi merong effect yan sa katawan. So for example, nag-iisip tayo, nako, lagot ako sa boss ko. Nako, lagot ako dito sa taong to. Nako, nakakatakot dahil kailangan ko magbigay ng workshop. Baka lahat ng tao, hindi ako magustuhan. Nako, ayokong kausapin yung taong yan kasi palagi akong pinapagalitan. So pag iniisip natin yan, may nangyayari rin sa katawan natin. Meron tayong tinatawag na adrenal glands din dito na nagsisecrete ng adrenaline. Pag nagsisecrete ng adrenaline yan, umataas yung blood, tumataas yung heartbeat, tumataas din yung blood pressure natin. So pag palagi tayong nag-iisip ng mga ganong bagay, or palagi nating iniisip yung mga taong nakakainis sa atin at nakakagalit sa atin, ano nangyayari sa katawan natin? Nagsisecrete yan ng adrenaline. Alam mo na nagsisecrete yan ng adrenaline pag umibilis yung tibok ng puso natin. Kasi ang unang-unang ginagawa ng adrenaline, umibilis yung tibok ng puso. Pag bumibilis yung tibok ng puso, kung may leyon dyan, okay yan. Kailangan bumilis yung tibok ng puso kasi tatakbo tayo ng mabilis. Lalakas tayo kung kailangan nating lumaban. Diba? Pero pag nag-iisip lang tayong tao na kinakainisan natin or bagay na kinakatakutan natin at bumibilis yung tibok ng puso natin, useless yon. Yan yung tawag na outdated na naman na programming. Pero ang effect sa katawan, meron. Stress tayo. Diba? Nasa-stress tayo. Stress na stress tayo, wala naman talaga nangyayari. Lahat nasa isip lang natin. Diba? Minsan meron taong sinaktan tayo. Pero ang problema, sinaktan tayo isang beses lang. Sa isang araw lang yon, sa isang oras lang nangyari yon. Pero dala-dala natin buong buhay natin. So nangyayari, parang niya tayong sinasaktan araw-araw. Pag pinag-iisipan natin every hour, parang niya tayong sinasaktan 10 beses sa isang araw. Sa buong taon, sa buong 3 taon, kung dala-dala pa natin ng 10 taon yan, di 10 taon niya tayong sinasaktan. Kaya naman pag nakita mo siya ulit, galit na galit ka sa kanya. Pero yung pala, sinaktan ka lang ng 1 beses. Pero sa imagination natin, sinaktan tayo ng 1,000 beses. Yun ang problema. Pag paulit-ulit yung pag-iisip natin, nawawala tayo. Yan nga, sinasabing worrying too much or naiinis tayo too much. Lahat nangyayari sa isip. Kaya napaka-importante na pinapanood natin yung iniisip natin. Dahil ang buong mundo natin umiikot sa pinag-iisipan natin. So next slide. So anong solution nito? Ang solution nito is mindfulness nga. Pag umiikot yung isip natin, umiikot na hindi natin nahalata, paulit-ulit lang siya. Para siyang sirang plaka na paulit-ulit. So, kailangan natin ma-recognize na nangyayari yon. Kaya yun ang sinasabi natin mindfulness. Na-realize natin, naku, nangyayari na to, umiikot-ikot ako paulit-ulit, kailangan ko na siyang itigil. And kailangan tayong mag-cultivate ng alternative mode of mind. So meron tayong doing automatic mind na actually gets us into sadness, unhappiness, and unpleasant emotions. So ano tong solution na to? Next slide, please. Ang tinatawag natin yung being mode. So yung being mode na yan ang hinahanap natin. Yan ang importanteng ginagawa natin. Which means we live with conscious awareness and choice. Hindi na siya automatic pilot. So, ibig sabihin na to, we stay quiet, we breathe deeply, hinga tayong mabagal at malalim, and just focus on the present moment. Tingnan na lang natin kung ano yung iniisip natin, tingnan natin kung ano nararamdaman natin, at kung anong mga mental events na nangyayari sa isip natin. So, next slide. So we have to pay attention to gentle learning of how to pay attention on the purposes, non-judgmentally to things as they are. So napaka-importante itong word na to, non-judgmental. So wag nating sisisihin yung sarili natin. Kahit na yung sarili natin, yun ang napakalaking problema. Hindi yung pag-judge sa ibang tao, pati yung pag-judge sa sarili natin. Sabihin natin sa sarili natin, napakahina ako naman. Bakit ko palaging inuulit-ulit to? So walang judgment. Panoorin lang natin yung sarili natin kung anong ginagawa natin. So when we discover firsthand how living mindfully allows us to see more clearly the little points of reactivity na nangyayari sa atin, pinapanood lang natin siya. Para na rin sine ang pinapanood natin, pero mindful tayo na nanonood lang tayo ng sine. Wag natin siyang huhusgahan. Next slide, please. Yan, sabi nga ni Peter, bawal judgment, di ba? So, ang isa sa mga bagay na napaka-importante sa mindfulness is itong pag-recognize natin ng aversion. Ang aversion is, ibig sabihin na to, ayaw ko to. Ayaw ko to. Di ba? Pag nakikipag-usap ako sa therapy, ayokong pag-usapan to. Kasi napakasakit. Kaya lang ang problema sa therapy, sinasabi ko na kagad sa clients ko na sa umpisa pa lang, kung ano yung ayaw niyong pag-usapan, actually yun ang dapat na pag-usapan. Kung ano yung ayaw niyong gawin, yun ang dapat natin ginagawa. Kung anong kinakatakutan natin, dun tayo dapat lumapit. Yun ang natawag natin, nare-recognize natin na ayaw natin to. Pag ayaw natin, dun tayo dapat. So aversion is parang ayaw natin ina-avoid. Diba? Ayoko tong tao na to. Gusto ko ayokong kausapin tong taong to. Pero kung gusto natin practicein sarili natin, yun ang mga taong kailangan natin kinakausap. Ayaw nating maramdaman to. Lalo nating ramdaman yon. Minsan, yung mga sobrang sakit na mga memories na gusto natin siyang itago sa memories at ibaon sa lupa at kalimutan o magpakalasing na lang tayo para hindi natin siya maisip, yun ang mga kailangan nating pag-isipan. So, kailangan nating tignan tong aversion na to at be mindful na averse tayo sa isang bagay o ayaw natin tong isang bagay. Tapos pag-aralan at tignan natin yung sarili natin habang nafe-feel natin to. Next slide, please. So sometimes kailangan natin yakapin ang mga bagay sa sarili natin na gusto nating itago. So sa therapy, yun yung sinasabi natin, natago mo siya, yan ang kailangan natin pag-usapan. Yan ang kailangan natin ilabas. Kasi gumagaling tayo at nawawala yung anxiety, nawawala yung depression kung kaya nating mahalin yung part ng sarili natin na usually kinakasuklaman natin. Next slide, please. Yan. So pag may negative thoughts tayo, dapat malinaw sa atin kung ano yung mga negative thoughts na to. Next slide, please. So sometimes, meron tayong physical discomfort. Pinag-aaralan natin. Ano ba yung isa sa mga bagay na pinakaayaw natin, averse tayo itong physical discomfort na to. Ayoko to, masakit, boring, nakakainis, ayoko to. So kailangan natin tignan yung sarili natin habang ano yung nararamdaman natin. Siguro ang pinakasimple is pinapag-practicean ko palagi or nire-recommend ko yung kate, itch, makate, for example dito. So panoorin mo lang yung sarili mo habang hindi mo kinakamot yung kate. At panoorin mo yung sarili mo kasi yung programming mo is to scratch the itch, di ba? So automatic program siya. Gusto nating kamutin pero wag nating kamutin kasi tingnan natin kung anong feeling pag hindi siya kinakamot. So obviously may problema yan. Pero pag very mindful na tayo, kaya nating panoorin yung kate na hindi natin kinakamot at wala tayong feeling ng aversion. Kasi yung kate, averse tayo dyan. Ayaw na ayaw natin yan. Kaya gusto natin siya kagad tanggalin. At ang paraan ng pagtanggal, kamutin. Diba? Pag alam ko yung mga ibang tao na nagiging mindful, kahit na yung kate, kahit na hindi nila kinakamot, okay na yan. Example lang naman. So, next slide, please. Yan. So, yung skillful response to aversion, kailangan natin siyang makilala. Kailangan natin pangalanan. Okay. Feeling ko, may feeling na ngayon ako ng aversion. Respetuhin natin siya. Pero tingnan natin siya, panoorin natin siya, kung paano siya nag-affect ng katawan natin. Kung paano siya umaapekto sa pag-iisip natin. Kasi ito yung feeling na nakaka-lead to depression, anxiety, and fear. Itong aversion na to. Parang feeling natin hindi na matawala-wala tong bagay na to na ayaw natin. Next slide, please. At ang importante, pinag-usapan ko sa start, is this allowing things to be as they are. So, kahit na bad traffic tayo, kahit na napakahirap ng buhay natin ngayon sa COVID, kailangan pa rin nating tanggapin yan. Wala naman talaga tayong magagawa. So, magagawa na lang natin, of course, is yung mga bagay-bagay to keep ourselves healthy and safe. Diba? Pero sa mga ibang tao na hindi sumusunod, let's say, sa mga rules, wala tayong magagawa sa kanila kundi pagsabihan. Pagkatapos ng pagsabihan, magagalit sila. Wala na tayong magagawa. Basta gawin lang natin yung kaya natin and accept na lang natin kung ano pa yung nangyayari sa atin. So next slide, please. So sinasabi natin itong si Rumi is one of the great philosophers in history. Kahit na ano lumabas sa atin, we just have to accept them. May pumasok sa atin sa bahay natin, may kumatok, si Joy. Oy, okay, pasok ka, Joy. Pasok ka, happiness. Pero minsan may pumapasok na depression, may pumapasok na galit, may pumapasok na inis. Welcome mo pa rin. Diba? Welcome and entertain all. Even if they're, kalungkutan, kahit naggalit, i-welcome natin lahat. So, welcome galit. Okay ka lang ba galit? Kamusta ka na? Pabalik-balik ka na sa akin na. Mga araw-araw ka na bumabalik ka. O, kumain ka muna. Umupo ka muna dito. So, welcome natin yan as guests. So, next slide, please. So yan, allowing things to be as they are, even if they're unpleasant. We just have to allow them. We recognize, remember, mindfulness is to recognize and then to accept, focus on the present moment and to accept whatever is happening in the present moment. Next slide, please. Yan, so yung working with difficult emotions like anger, depression, anxiety, is to be aware of these different difficult emotions and bring this awareness and investigate curiosity. Bakit kaya nagagalit ako dyan? Bakit ba inis na inis ako dyan sa taong yan? Ano bang nagawa niya sa akin? Okay, so, kana. Next slide, please. So we have to embrace this discomfort. We have to accept it and we have to be with it. So an example dyan sa mental toughness, no? Not only do we actually embrace it, but sometimes lalagay pa natin yung sarili natin sa lugar na maharap tayo dito. So for example, yung mental toughness na yan, meron mga ibang tao tumatakbo sa snow, no? Yellow, na naka-shorts lang. Walang iba, no? Walang top, walang bottom, naka-shorts, takbo sa yellow, tapos talon sa tubig ng yellow. So yan ang mga examples ng minsan mental toughness. Harapin mo talaga at talagang yakapin mo yung mga difficulties. Yung mga inaayawan mo, yakapin mo siya. Next slide, please. So yan. Seeing thoughts as thoughts. So mga pag-isip lang natin yan, hindi naman yan importante. Nasa isip lang natin yan, padaanin lang natin siya. Next slide, please. Yan. So kasi emotions and thoughts, ang nangyayari sa thoughts, nagiging emotion siya and emotions become thoughts sometimes. So next slide. And then, like I was saying kanina, we start watching our thoughts. And sometimes, ito yung tinatawag nating meditation, we also meditate on our thoughts. Next slide. So train of associations. So I think, napakalinaw na kung ano yung nangyayari sa atin pag nawawala tayo sa isip natin. No? So hindi ko na masyadong pag-usapan to. Iiwan ko na lang siya sa inyo in the slides. So free naman yung slides. Everyone is welcome to my slides. And actually, we can all just read the slides later on. So I think mas importante yung questions that some of you might have. So I'll leave the next 4 or 5 minutes left to any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Robin, for such a very optimistic way of looking at what we are facing as teachers, the very challenge of converting everything that we're experiencing now and channeling them to stay happy, okay? We've been seeing a lot of comments on the chat box, and we'd just like to share with you after the almost 45-minute talk na maraming nakasulat sa chat. You might not have had time to read it while we were listening. So It's very important that we stick to the here and now. Worrying too much creates stress and fear. Sobrang relatable. Fear, face everything and then rest. And then accept the new normal. Love those who you hate. Tama daw po ba yun? And feel
Tama.
the fear and do it anyway. So we'd like to invite all the participants to put on the chat box your major takeaways for today's session so that we can all share and be a community, no, an online community of support to each other. Okay, marami pang tanong dito, Dr. Robin, so we'd like to start the ball rolling.
Okay.
I just combined some of the questions para almost similar naman sila. First is, how can mindfulness help distress a person? And then a related question is, how can mindfulness ease panic attacks?
Okay. So yung mindfulness, when we have panic attacks, usually may kinakatakutan tayo sa future. For example, number 1 panic attack, we have to talk in public. Diba? Nagkaka-panic attack ka. Or kailangan natin kausapin yung boss natin, napapagalitan niya tayo. So panic attack yon. So the first of all is kailangan this mindfulness na halata mo yung panic attack mo. And then, because nahalata mo yung panic attack mo, napakabilis ng pagtibok ng puso mo. Medyo breathe slowly. Hihinga ka na mabagal. Kasi once na binagalan mo yung paghinga mo, mahirap ma-maintain yung panic attack na yan. Yung panic attack na yan, kailangan mabilis yung pagtibok ng puso, mabilis yung paghinga natin. Yun ang mga nakikita natin sa panic attack. Pero pag nirelax natin yung paghinga natin, wala tayong magagawa sa tibok ng puso natin. Pero sa paghinga natin, bagalan natin purposely and laliman natin, nakaka-release din siya ng mga stress issues. Na pag aware na tayo sa kung anong iniisip natin at marami dito hindi totoo, marami tayong kinakatakutan na mga bagay na hindi naman magkakatotoo or minsan kahit na magkatotoo, hindi naman siya ganun kasama. Kailangan natin pag-isipan at pag-usapan to. Kung meron tayong best friend, meron tayong counselor, it would be good na kausapin natin sila tungkol sa mga kinakatakutan natin at bakit tayo nagkaka-panic attack. At sa lahat ng mga lumapit sa akin on panic attack, madidiscover nila, hindi naman pala ganun ka nakakatakot yan.
Okay, thank you very much for that. There's so many questions flooding our Q&A. So I'll proceed right to the next one. What is the difference between being mindful and being focused? And then a related question, the difference, is mental toughness the same as mind over matter? So these are 4 concepts.
Okay, mindfulness, focus is kung saan natin nilalagay yung attention natin. Mindfulness naman is looking at it more broadly. Parang kung ano yung nangyayari sa present moment. Focus is, okay, I will focus on studies, I will focus on this person, I will focus on my thoughts. Pwede rin kasing nakafocus ka pero automatic thinking. Nakafocus ka sa road pero automatic thinking pa rin yan. Ang mindfulness kasi is being mode na pinag-uusapan natin na ibig sabihin nito hindi automatic thinking. So, ang focus natin instead of sa maling bagay or sa thoughts na paulit-ulit, ang focus natin is ano yung nararamdaman natin, ano yung iniisip natin, ano yung epekto nito sa nangyayari. And yes, mindfulness in a way is mind over matter kasi nakikita natin na lahat ng bagay nangyayari sa isip natin, lahat ng problema natin ay actually gawa-gawa lang yan ng isip natin. Wala tayong problema na hindi ginawa lang ng isip natin. So if kaya natin siyang i-overcome, itama yung pinag-iisipan natin, then actually nakakatulong yon para makalabas sa ating problema.
Thank you. This is a very interesting question, yung next one. How do we know that we are not filtering our thoughts and that we are really becoming aware of our real and unfiltered thoughts?
Oh, napakagandang tanong yan. Actually, pwede akong mag-lecture ng buong araw para sagutin yung question na yan. Kahit na nung nag-aaral pa lang ako sa university, pinapractice namin tong unfiltered thoughts na yan. So, kasi, or unfiltered observation. Kasi pag unfiltered observation, kung pwede lang, kahit na lagyan mo ng words, wala. kung nakita ka ng mansanas, for example, nakikita mo lang yung mansanas. Once na sinabi mo, ang sarap siguro ng mansanas, may judgment na yon, may filter na yon. Pag sinabi mong pula yung mansanas, may filter na yon. Pag sinabi mong napakatigas siguro ng mansanas na to, filtered na rin yon. Kaya kailangan tignan mo lang yung mansanas at as if walang judgment, walang labels. Yun ang importante, yung label. Wala siyang label. Nakikita mo lang yung bagay na yun. Kung pwede lang, kahit na yung word na mansanas, wala rin eh. So, napakahirap gawin, pero pinapag-practicean namin yan. Yung pag-practice namin dyan, for example, yung makikinig ka sa isang tao na hindi magsasalita. Kahit na mag-agree, disagree. Pag nakikinig ka sa tao, pag nahalata mo yung sarili mo, agree ako dyan. Oh, may judgment na yun actually. Hindi ako agree dyan. Ay, mali yan. Huwag mong pag-isipan yan. Or bakit mo ginagawa yan? So, may judgment na palagi yon. So, dapat pag nagsasalita tayo or nakikinig tayo, walang judgment as much as possible. So, malalaman natin na may judgment kung papanurin mo yung mga thoughts mo habang nakikipag-usap ka. Pagka may mga labels, pagka may mga mali, tama, pangit, maganda, meron ng filter yon. Kailangan nakikinig ka. At mahalata mo yung mga pinakamagaling makinig, ang mga pinakamagaling na therapist, walang judgment. Talagang nakikinig lang sila 100%.
Thank you, Robin. Sabi nga nung isang nag-share, sabi niya, bawal daw ang judgmental. Sana all.
Oo, tama. Kung pwede lang. Kung pwede lang, napakalaking tulong.
Yes. Isa pa ang tanong na I think makaka-relate din lahat, no? Bakit daw ganon? Nagme-meditate naman siya, tapos feeling positive after meditating. And then, bigla-bigla, nagkaka-panic attack. Kaya lalong nag-i-increase yung worry. Yung why the sudden shift from being mindful and then to panicking?
Pwede rin mangyari to, no? Hindi ibig sabihin kasi na mindful tayo, hindi na tayo magpapanik. Maybe in the long term, pag palagi natin pinapractice to, medyo babawas yung panicking. Pero wag natin expect na dahil ginawa lang natin to or nag-meditate tayo ngayon, mawawala na yung panicking kagad. So it takes time, sometimes weeks, months, sometimes years before mawala to. Depende kasi sa dahilan kung bakit ka nagpapanik. Minsan ang panic nanggagaling sa childhood trauma. Diba? So meron kang paulit-ulit, let's say, na childhood trauma. Ngayon kung trauma yung dahilan ng pagpapanik mo, matagal yon. Hindi siya basta-basta matatanggal, medyo kailangan maraming counseling yan. Or maraming pakikipag-usap, maraming pag-iisip, at maraming ano. So, depende sa panic. Hindi lang porke magiging mindful tayo. Makakatulong siya, pero hindi siya instant. Hindi siya instant effect, unfortunately. So, kailangan din tayo maging patient. Kailangan din nating maging mapursige. Kasi hindi to basta-basta nawawala.
Thank you very much for all those answers. Unfortunately, we've run out of time and there's still a few questions on the Q&A. I'm hoping that we can bring this up to you, Dr. Robin, and then possibly in your social media channels or in LinkedIn, you can answer a few questions, and it can also lead you to creating more modules for teachers and for training professionals as well. As for me, my major takeaway is the fact that staying in the moment, the present moment awareness is actually the key to happiness. If we look at the future, we become anxious. If we look at the past, we become depressed. That's why every moment, a present moment matters. So with that, we'd like to thank you, Dr. Robin Velasco, for sharing your thoughts with us and your expertise. We truly all learned a lot, and based on the chat box, very appreciated ang topic that you have discussed with us today. So again, thank you very much. And I hope that this session also was helpful to everyone who is in the Zoom as well as in Facebook Live. And we'd like to challenge the teachers to continue to strive for what is best for our students and at the same time enjoying the journey. So I'm Maricel Padilla. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I turn you over back to Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Maricel. And thanks again, Robin, for sharing with us how to be mindful in adverse situations. We've actually peaked at 340 participants, both in Zoom and Facebook, and I'm sure the session was enriching for everyone. Now, to close the program, let me just give a few parting reminders. So our last week of July is packed with different learning modules, starting with the Learn from Home sessions today and on the 30th. So on the 30th, we have the Music in Me. Music as a source of inspiration, a meaningful channel of self-expression. The speaker will be Prof. Jai Aracama, and the moderator will be Prof. Pat Silvestre. We're also going to have our Tipanan, from trainers to writers, how to be an instructional designer. That's going to be on the same day, but in the afternoon. That's going to be still in July 30th. Our resource speaker is Ms. Sara Gregorio, founder of Learning Architect. And then last but not the least, we're also going to have Chillax with PSTD, and it's going to be hosted by ITD World. So ITD will be facilitating games via Menti, and then teach us how to effectively navigate the tool. Not only that, but participants in the Chillax session will also get to have a chance to win a complimentary seat to ITD World Philippines Global Leader E-Summit, which is valued at 14,000 pesos per seat. So the registration is free for our Chillax session. It's a good time, especially on a Friday, for us to unwind and chill through games. And at the same time, we can also learn how to use digital tools. Again, on behalf of PSTD, thank you again to our speaker, Dr. Robin, and to our moderator, Dr. Maricel, for a wonderful learning session this morning. My name is Lawrence Ko from the Philippine Society for Talent Development, and I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming learning sessions this week. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maricel. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Kina po sa oras, meron ka pang a few slides eh, no?